Tales of Kenzera Zhao. I probably said that wrong. It's a game by Surgent Studios, and it's coming out really quickly. Biggest thing about this game, I played the demo, Dave.
Did you play the demo?
I played the demo, and I have a few things to talk about with the demo. But let's pull up the trailer. Essentially, it's a single-player metroidvania game. Has a big feel of like the recent Prince of Persia: Lost Crown.
The exact vibe that I got. And guys, if you're just listening, the game is beautiful. I love the art style of the game. Everything is so bright and so like, I don't want to call it cartoonish. I don't want to. But you know what I'm saying?
No, I think it is. It's got a cartoon feel to it. It's like almost like a Pixar animation movie.
Yeah, no, it's basically that's what it looks like to me. It looks like a 2D puzzle platformer that like Pixar created, but with like a much more adult themed story, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah. And if you're just watching, like he said, there's different platforming, and the weapon that you see there, that's one of the masks. So that one's like a long range weapon. And then there's melee attacks where you can get really close, where this is where you can kind of see that hitting the enemies. The combos in it, one of the masks felt pretty fast. The other felt really slow, and I'll kind of dive into that a little bit. But yeah, I think it just looks fun. The setting's really cool. The enemies are pretty like unique, if that makes sense. And I think what they're really trying to sell with this game is the story. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that they're trying to do. It's inspired by Bantu, like Tales, so kind of the African storylines with that kind of stuff. Not like I don't know much about it, but that's kind of what they're talking about. And then this point is showing all the different skill trees you can level up, the trinkets that you get, where just different abilities and things like that. And that's like I really like that ultimate there. I don't know if you saw it, like where the flame kind of It's just a cool game.
It does look very, very well done. And again, guys, if you are just listening, it obviously has one setting, but I think the settings within the settings is one of the things that really intrigued me. It just feels like there's a bunch of different atmospheres here. I mean, we're seeing really bright, like lush green kind of areas. Like we're seeing really dark kind of cave-like areas. We're seeing like water themed stuff. Like right now he's fighting this main boss that it looks like you're just on top of like some type of giant plateau in the sky. Like it looks really, really interesting. And I think the combat style looks really, really clean too.
Yeah, and I have some things to say about it because it's not as clean as it looks. And honestly, I don't expect it to be. So this game's only $20, so it's not even that like big of a production for the game. But it's made by Surgent Studios, who is based off like the creator of the Surgent Studio. The game is based off of his personal experiences dealing with like grief and trying to overcome that. And it's I'm not gonna say his name because I'm gonna butcher it, but I'll try. Ababakar?
I feel like you nailed it.
Probably did not, but Mr. Salem. Mr. Salem that's his last name.
There you go.
But essentially, yeah. So it's showing his experience in this kind of setting, the way you kind of deal with that kind of things, like things that happen in your life. And the whole story is you're playing as Zhao and you're trying to bring your father back who died of illness, and you're a shaman, and you get this god of death to agree to do it if you help him in a way. So that's kind of the basic story of the game.
The story looks really interesting. I mean, and again, we're talking about it. It's a puzzle platformer. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to have a ridiculously great story. And I feel like for $20, they probably went above and beyond what they really needed to do for a game like this. So I'm excited to hear the story because the story sounds interesting and it sounds great. I have the one question that I have though is how does this compare to Prince of Persia? Because it feels like from what I've seen of both games, it feels like they're kind of the exact same game.
I don't think they are based off of but at the same point, I didn't get as far as I did in Prince of Persia. Like I beat Prince of Persia 100%. I got everything unlocked in that game. So there's a lot of intricacies in the puzzling and things like that I didn't get a sense of in this demo. And that's, again, it's a demo, so I didn't expect to see it all. I felt like the combat in Prince of Persia flowed a lot better than this game. I felt like the combat in what I've seen so far is a little bit slower, a little bit more meticulous, I think, in terms of like how that all works. But you see in the skill tree, like this, each mask has its own skill tree, and I think that's going to increase that, kind of how Prince of Persia did. It's like you start off kind of basic and boring, and then you like really ramp it up, and I think that's going to be very similar. So, but from the moment I started Prince of Persia, I felt kind of had some speed and fluidity to it, whereas this one I don't think it has it right from the beginning. And I think that's just different budgets too. Prince of Persia must like probably has a higher budget in terms of like what they could put into a game.
100% Prince of
Yeah.
Persia is going to have a higher budget. Um, yeah, I mean, the combat, and don't get me wrong, guys, the combat system didn't look bad to me.
No, it's definitely not bad. I don't want to make it seem like it's bad. It just doesn't feel as fluid as Prince of Persia Lost Crown did.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. It looks a lot like Prince of Persia, just like almost there.
Yeah.
It's almost Prince of Persia.
And I think it's going to be a game. If you like Metroidvanias and you really liked Lost Crown and you're looking for something, like this is going to be a game to play. Like, I don't think it's going to be a game like, oh, it's not Prince of Persia. It's not the same exact thing. Like, I'm not going to play it. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a game. If you like Metroidvanias and you like games like this, then it's going to be a game for you.
Yeah, and I honestly think that this game is probably going to be something kind of special. I think people are going to latch on to this game because this style of game, and we've seen it in the past, has been um very, very popular. These kind of like lower budget indie 2D puzzle platformers have become very, very popular. And I think it's a game that people are going to latch on to, especially at the $20 price point. It's going to be accessible to so many people. And I think it's going to actually do really, really well. My big, big question, though, is how is the traversal system? Because in a game like this, in a 2D puzzle platformer, especially when you're kind of like expected to make these kind of ridiculous jumps and, you have these, really difficult obstacles, if the fluid, I can deal with the fluidity not being there 100% in the combat system, but if the fluidity in the traversal isn't there, that's where it kind of starts to get like a little annoying for me.
From like some of the traversing through like the puzzle like spots, I didn't find that it was bad. Like I felt like if I mess up, it was my fault. Like that's kind of what you want to see in a game. It's like, oh, it wasn't the game's fault. Like, and you always talk about this. I just felt like it wasn't the game's fault when I died or hit something I wasn't supposed to. It was my own fault, and I think that it's really well done so far. And then you kind of see in the trailer, the more you get, the more traversal that you see in the game, and I think that's pretty cool. So I don't think it's bad.
That was my number one question. Is I just wanted to make sure the traversal was good. I mean, I do say it all the time. I want to make sure that like if I'm playing a game, I don't get frustrated if I'm playing a game and I mess up and I feel like it's my fault. I only get frustrated if I mess up and I feel like it's the game's fault. So yeah, I'm excited that they kind of nailed the traversal.
I in my demo experience though, I didn't get to face any bosses, so I don't know how any of that is yet. And I was kind of disappointed. Like, a lot of demos you do it, you come across the first big boss, you attack them or you beat them, and then it's over. No, I got through like 30 minutes. And it's like, thanks for playing. It's like, what?
Oh, they didn't even include a boss battle in the
like,
demo?
I didn't see how the boss battle was going to be or anything like that. And I don't think in my 30 minutes of playing, I think it was just the first mission. I don't think it was like anywhere close to the first boss battle either.
Well,
So it's not to say it's going to be bad. It's just I didn't get to experience it. So
there's two ways that that's going to work. Either number one, the game does not have a lot of boss battles, so they don't want to just kind of let loose maybe one of the 4 that they have in the game, or you're going to get a miraculous deal for your $20, and that game is super long.
So we'll see. It has 4 acts, so I don't know if that means like how long it is or anything like that. But the game will have 4 acts in it. A couple other things that I really liked about the game. The voice acting wasn't pretty like bad. I actually enjoyed the voice acting. And it's a smaller game. You wouldn't expect to have this much like heart and like effort put into this kind of stuff. And I think they did have some good effort put into the game. So
And what was the deal with the masks? I know you're talking about the masks. So how does that work?
the mask, so you have 2 masks. One's the sun and one's the moon, and so they have different abilities. The moon, you kind of have this ability where it's more like long range. It shoots like little darts, and then your heavy attack, which is a melee up close. And then the sun is like a fiery, and it's up close and personal. And so even like your light attack, it's all up close and personal. There's no ranged attack with that. And then ultimate wise, like the moon ultimate is like horizontal, and then the sun is vertical. So there's two different ways like that. I found that the moon ultimate was much more better, like easier to use than the vertical one. So
How do they build? Like, how are you building the ultimate? Is it like you get a set number of ultimates per run, or like you're building up like a meter to get the?
yeah, you build up the meter. So as you're fighting them, you build up a meter, and you can use that meter to one, heal yourself, or two, use it as an ultimate. But if you use it as an ultimate, you completely like not waste, like the meter goes to zero, and you just start fighting people again.
You have a choice to heal or use the ultimate. I love that. I love that idea.
It's pretty cool. And I bet the more you upgrade your character, like the more bars you'll get to like decide on how you're going to use it. Trinket wise, there's different things that kind of help buff and stuff like that. Each mask has different skill trees, and so like every time you get an experience point, you can either put it in the moon side or the sun side. And I didn't really notice too much because I only got to upgrade them both once, so it really didn't give me a good grasp of what that's going to turn into. And I think the more you look at the trailers, that's where you can see your character going to get to.
I think it looks great. I think it looks really, really fun, and especially for $20. Do you know the name of the developer?
It is Surgent Studios, and it's releasing April 23rd.
Another small dev.
Another small dev, but it's being published by EA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it's he worked in a lot. He was in Assassin's Creed games as a voice actor, like the creator. So like he's got like a back on him. You know what I mean? Like he has a backing behind him, I think.
He's got an in. He's got a foot in the door
exactly.
already.
He's got an in. We need an in.
We need an in. Yeah, we need an in. Any small devs out there, we need an in. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, it should be really, really fun. It looks great. $20 price tag. And again, guys, if you guys are just listening and you didn't have a chance to see the trailer, take a look at the trailer. It really is beautiful. It's a great game. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of like how we did Under the Rock. Do you remember Under the Rock? Yeah, like that type of, very, very bright, like Pixar-y, like kind of like a Kenna or something like that. It's just such a great world to look at. And I'm excited for the game. I'm going to grab it. I'm definitely going to play it.
Thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up for me too.